Hey everyone, how's it going? So I'm here in Regent's Park. It's actually a very windy and cold day today in London, but it's kind of beautiful at the same time. Feeling very festive. But today I actually want to talk to you about something that I've kind of really noticed, especially when I was shooting out in Ibiza and Morocco, which, you know, had a very strong, sunny kind of back setting. And that was the aperture in which I was shooting. I kind of, you know, us as videographers, we're always, and photographers as well, kind of always used to shooting on that very wide open lens. You know, if we've got a lens that's like 1.2, we kind of, you know, we always push that to the limit and go, all right, we're going to shoot at like 1.2 and try and get that as wide as possible. And you can, you know, you can understand why. That's why you're paying for like a really expensive lens to get that kind of nice bokeh and you know, that really fine focal length. Well, there was something I was noticed when I was, you know, shooting out there, and actually for the majority of this year, that's actually that I prefer to shoot at around f4. And I noticed that from this lens here, which is the Zeiss f4 16 to 35, which is, you know, it's an alright lens. It's not really up there, especially compared to something like the G Master, but it's still a pretty good lens. And I realized that there was felt like there was a lot more color in the images I captured, you know, that were hitting the sensor. And I guess none of this is kind of like proven in a way, like I haven't really compared the images side by side, so I thought I'll do that now. So then afterwards, when I was out there and doing professional shoots, I was shooting on the Sigma 24 to 70, which obviously goes down to 2.8. But I would put that up a couple of stops and shoot that at f.4 as well. And I just found that, like I said, the images would hold color just a little bit more. I mean, it felt so slight. I don't know if you'd even kind of like notice it that much, but when I was color grading, I just felt like the colors were there just a bit more stronger. Oh my God, it's getting really windy. I'm gonna close this up a little bit. But I know what you're saying as well, like 2.8 to 4 is so like minimal, you know? Could you really notice the difference that much? And that's what I'm saying, it's not really that noticeable, but I just felt like I noticed the difference. But as I mentioned, this is just such a small difference. I don't know if this is even really kind of true what I'm saying, or just the fact that maybe my color grade changed or whatever. So that's why I just wanted to kind of test out now and see how it kind of looks. I'm only going to test out those two aperture lengths. I know I do want to do another video where I really go through all the apertures, see how they look really differently, especially when it comes to color grading and color. But I just want to try out those two apertures for now and see how they kind of look. All right, now I've switched over to the Sigma. I'm just going to set my skin tones. I'm going to expose to my skin tones just so the color is the same on f4 and 2.8. So right now that's the Zebra is 65, so right now I'm exposing to my skin tone. And right now I'm on f4. So this is how it looks on f4. I'm going to jump into the computer once I'm home and do a side-by-side comparison. So I'll record that as well so you can see what I'm kind of looking at. Yeah, but right now this is f4. So now this is f2.8. Well, obviously that looks amazing, 2.8. You know, you can see the bokeh is much nicer. It's got that real shallow depth of fields. So obviously, like, you know, they both look amazing. And I'm not doing this to see kind of how the picture looks, because, you know, a shallow depth of field, like, I think there's something about it that always draws us to it. Like, we always want to have that. That's what people pay expensive lenses for, to have that, you know, as I mentioned, that wide open aperture, and it does look amazing. But I'm really just talking about like strength of color. If the color comes out, I just want to see if that's actually just like you know, something that's in my head, or if it's actually a thing. So there you go. There's that's right now on 2.8. I'm gonna go jump into the computer and see if this makes any kind of difference, or if I'm just chatting complete rubbish.
Follow me, deal with trauma privately. I don't wanna be a burden, I handle things defiantly. Spent a decade searching for a higher power guiding me. Figured out that
So just jumping into DaVinci now. I've kind of just put a bit of a Rec 709 color and a bit of contrast, and I've also taken the 2.8 a bit brighter, because actually it was a little bit darker than the f4. I'm not quite sure why, because like I said, I was exposing to my skin tones, but it was a bit darker. So I've just brightened that up as well, and look at it now. You can't really tell too much of a difference. They're like pretty much the same. I'm trying to see, like, there's maybe a tiny bit more you can notice around my neck, so obviously the f4 is going to have a kind of deeper field of view. And also here on my jacket, you can see the pattern on the jacket, whereas here you can't. So obviously it's got that bit more of a depth of field, and maybe that's what I was kind of looking for. Obviously it seems like there's more details, especially if you're shooting something like a yoga class or something. You know, you can see more in the background on an f4 rather than on the f2.8. So it probably feels like it's a tiny bit clearer. But apart from that, yeah, I can't really notice too much of a difference. But I think anywhere between 2.8 and 4 is like your perfect sweet spot for video. I think any higher than that, it wouldn't really look as nice. And I think any lower than that is probably a bit too much of a shallow kind of depth of field, unless you were really just going for that look, you know, in something specific. But anyway, let me know your thoughts on it. To me, this was actually just an experiment. I wasn't trying to make this video just to say do it this certain way. It's just that I have found that I was shooting on f4 quite a lot over the summer, and I kind of, something about it I preferred. But now kind of putting them side by side, maybe there's not too much of a difference. So, you know, I'm kind of learning something every day too. But yeah, let me know your thoughts on it. Do you prefer to shoot f4 or f2.8? Do you notice much of a difference? Have you ever found that like there's a bit more color in f4 and things are not so blown out? And as per usual, please like, please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks a lot.
Follow me, deal with trauma privately. I don't wanna be a burden, I handle things defiantly. Spent a decade searching for a higher power guiding me. Figured out